fellow flawless, limitless, sexy, sassy, saucy HBICs. How are you on this lovely morning, afternoon, or evening? How are you all? How are things going in your lovely 3Ds? I am hoping that you are choosing correctly each day. What do I mean by that? I mean choosing to be the version of yourself that has your manifestation. I'm hoping you're doing that. And I'm sure you can see by the title, we're going to stop manifesting and start choosing. And if that's something that interests you, if you want to dive a little deeper with me and start actually experiencing a 3D you enjoy, you're going to want to keep watching. But first, some basic bitch. If you need help figuring out what's going on between you and your manifestation, please feel free to email me at manifestingwithkimberly@gmail.com. All of my coaching options are in the drop box below. They're in the screen that just went by. I have 2 channel memberships. I have the exclusive lives channel membership, which was last night. And can I just say, if you are unsure as to what group to join, and if you're someone that doesn't want to talk, you want to sit back and listen, you would benefit from both groups. But the exclusive lives is the Hbic group. That is the group where we discuss successes, success stories, tips and tricks to manifestation. And last night's session was off the chain with successes, movement in people's realities. My channel members from both groups are seeing changes. They're seeing changes. And isn't that what we all want to experience? We want the change. We want the manifestation. But I am telling you, if you would like some kind of a weekly Hbic, pump yourself up in the moments where you're feeling frustrated and doubtful, you can't fail. It will not be a waste of your time or your dollars to be in either one of them. But last night was a Hbic. I was Hbiced. I was Hbiced by other people's successes and mindsets, the changes that are happening within themselves, let alone the 3D. Oh, I can't say enough good things, but that is a Hbic group. That is where we share what I just said. And we go live together on Tuesdays around 9:30 p.m.-ish Eastern Standard Time. I also have the hot seat / group coaching, which I go live with them on Fridays at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time-ish. 9 a.m.-ish. That is a group that if you want to get into the hot seat and ask me anything specific, that's the group you want to join. And by joining that group, you have access to both groups. So it's going live with me twice a week, essentially. You cannot fail. You cannot fail. And I'm going live with both groups for more than an hour each group. So it's extra time spent with a group of people that are choosing to evolve, who believes in the same thing you believe. So it's encouragement. And, especially in the hot seat group, it's people asking questions that are probably relative to your own manifestation. It's not surprising that people reflect what's going on within your 3D too. Hello, manifestation. Hello, just saying. So I know I share every single video that those groups exist and the memberships exist. Not really someone that is going to overly push you to join something because I know it costs money. But I just want to say, it's such a Hbic group. It's such a Hbic group. It makes you feel empowered. And this journey sometimes can make us feel not very empowered. And that's only our human sides getting in the way. But the groups pump you up. Just saying. But anyway, I have TikTok. I have Instagram. I have Clapper. I would love for you to join me everywhere. If you are new here, hi, I'm Kimberly. And I am the sass queen. Okay. And if you can handle a little sarcasm and a little sassiness, and you're interested in manifestation like I am, maybe you could think about subscribing and coming back and seeing me. And if I could ask you all for a favor, if you could like the video so the video can get out to other people trying to manifest their desires, I would really, really appreciate it. So let's jump in. I put a video up yesterday about, when this journey feels hard. And there were a couple of comments that, really stuck out to me. I do my best to respond to comments. Cannot respond to every single comment, but I do read them. And there were two that kind of stuck out to me. Both were voicing concern with, like, no, Kim, this really is hard. This is hard for me. It's hard for me for this reason and this reason. And one of the reasons is, I can't think of the name of this reason, but long story short, this person cannot visualize, doesn't see pictures, can't conjure up pictures in their mind. Okay. And then the other was something along the lines of, I've never experienced what I want to manifest. So how do I know what it's supposed to feel like? I can't conjure up those feelings. So we have two comments that, this is no judgment or hate towards these comments. These comments were genuine. So this is not a negative. This is me hopefully answering to these because they're important. Your ability to visualize or not is not going to stop you from manifesting. You've been manifesting your entire existence, and your ability to come up with a picture didn't stop you from manifesting. Some of us don't naturally take to visualization, even if we can come up with mental pictures. That doesn't hinder your manifestation journey unless you choose to believe that it will. But let me say this. The world which is described from observation is a manifestation of the mental activity of the observer. When man discovers that his world is his own mental activity made visible, that no man can come unto him except he draws him, and that there is no one to change but himself, his own imaginative self. His first impulse is to reshape the world in the image of his ideal. But his ideal is not so easily incarnated. In that moment, when he ceases to conform to external discipline, he must impose upon himself a far more rigorous discipline, the self-discipline upon which the realization of his ideal depends. You see, you are utilizing your imagination all the time. And your ability to see a clear picture has absolutely nothing to do with accessing your imagination. It's a limit. It's a limit. It's a condition. It's a circumstance. You're seeing it as that. You're seeing it as an obstacle to your own conscious manifestation ability. And listen, I understand when we have things that we feel are limiting. But this is a world of choice. Whether you see it that way or not, it's a world of choice. So am I saying that you are choosing to be limited by this? No. Unconsciously you have been, yes. But it doesn't matter that you can't see a picture. That doesn't matter. You can write on paper. You can fluently speak. You can fluently type. You did all of that with your comment. You used your imagination. So you're seeing that as somehow, some way that's going to stop you from conscious manifestation. That's not possible. That's you deciding that the I am has flaws, that the I am has limits. God, universe, high power, source energy, moonbeams, doesn't have limits, doesn't have flaws. And you are that. Your imagination is still working. It's okay that you cannot see pictures. You can still form words. You are still able to function in your day-to-day life. No limits. So step back from that thinking, because all it's doing is limiting you, but it's limiting you by a choice. Do you see what I'm saying? Any physical ailments or conditions with our body, mentally, emotionally, physically. I understand how you can see them as limiting you and maybe getting around your day-to-day life. I understand. But you wouldn't be able to have a conversation. You wouldn't be able to interact if it was truly hindering your access to imagination. Imagination, which is Christ in man, is not subject to the necessity to produce only that which is perfect and good. It exercises its absolute freedom from necessity by endowing the outer physical self with free will to choose to follow good or evil, order or disorder. But after the choice is made and accepted so that it forms the individual's habitual consciousness, then imagination manifests its infinite power and wisdom by molding the outer sensuous world of becoming in the image of the habitual inner speech and actions of the individual. To realize his ideal, man must first change the pattern which his imagination has followed. Habitual thought is indicative of character. The way to change the outer world is to make the inner speech and action match the outer speech and action of fulfilled desire. Our ideals are waiting to be incarnated, but unless we ourselves match our inner speech and action to the speech and action of fulfilled desire, they are incapable of birth. Inner speech and action are the channels of God's action. He cannot respond to our prayer unless these paths are offered. The outer behavior of man is mechanical. It is subject to the compulsion applied to it by the behavior of the inner self, and old habits of the inner self hang on till replaced by new ones. It is a peculiar property of the second or inner man that he gives to the outer self, something similar to his own reality of being. Any change in the behavior of the inner self will result in corresponding outer changes. The mystic calls a change of consciousness death. By death, he means not the destruction of imagination and the state with which it was fused, but the dissolution of their union. Fusion is union rather than oneness. Thus, the conditions to which that union gave being vanish. I die daily, said Paul to the Corinthians. In other words, it's not what clear, picture perfect, visible pictures that enter your mind that matter. So if you have a limit, or you believe you have a limit, that you can't form a visual, so what? And I say that from love, so what? You're still having inner speech. There's still an inner dialogue. You still have freedom. You still have your own free will. You can change your inner dialogue. That's the necessity to manifestation. That's how you change your life. That's how you change your outer world. Changing who you are being. Breaking habits of the old, limited version of self. If we can't come up with clear pictures, that does not matter. You can, however, redirect your inner dialogue. You can, however, choose to be the version of self that has the desire. You can still do that. Your inner talk is happening at all times. This is why I say, be the observer. Observe your thoughts. If you feel you cannot get the feelings of whatever your wish fulfilled is. So in other words, say you're manifesting a specific person and you are manifesting a relationship, but you've never been in a love relationship. So you see it from the perspective of, I've never had this, so I don't know what it feels like. And my response to that is, no, that's a victim mentality coming from a victim state. Your ability to feel like you are the self having the relationship really doesn't matter. What matters is that you are choosing to be that version of yourself anyway. Does it make it feel more natural and normal quicker? when you can allow yourself to step into what it would feel like. Sure. But so, God is limitless, flawless. You are God. Choose to be the you that has it. Don't worry about feeling like the you in the relationship. And listen, when Neville is talking about feeling, he is discussing that the feeling of it being done. And you get to feel like it's done right now because you are probably aware, like everyone else in this community, that creation is finished. So it is done. It is done. And you can step into that. And I'll use the example. If those of you who have your driver's licenses, granted, I know I'm talking to people all around the world, so I don't know what the laws are as far as when you can get your driver's license in any other country. I just know in the US, it is 16. The last time I knew it was anyway. It's 16. And before your caregivers or your parents allowed you to learn how to drive by driving their vehicle, you didn't know what it was like to drive. You didn't know what it felt like to have your driver's license. You didn't know. Just like we'll say the example of you didn't know what it's like to be in a relationship and that's what you're manifesting. But yet you're desiring it. Just like any other person's desiring to get their driver's license. You probably saw movies, TV shows, people in your day-to-day life, in relationships. You liked how that looked. It inspired some kind of a feeling within, like, yeah, I think I want that. That is no different than you watching someone else drive the vehicle you are in. You don't know what it's like to sit behind that wheel and actually move that car, but it looks like fun. It looks like something you might want. So you start desiring it. But you didn't know what it was like to drive a car. It is not about whether you can see yourself or feel like the self that has the specific desire, meaning desire, the experience itself. That is okay. Throw that out. That's just another limit to not allow yourself to have your desire. That's all that is. This video is for everyone. Like, you want to really change your life. You want shit to change. You want what you want. Listen to your inner dialogue. Listen to how you talk to yourself. If you are telling yourself that you can't have what you want for whatever reason, the because, whatever comes after that because, or whatever the yeah buts, it's a choice and it's a limit coming from a limited victim state. And that's all it is. And I mean that from love, because I want you to get your manifestation. I want you to have your desire. I want you to see that it doesn't matter that you've never had the experience. Something stirred within you. You saw, I'm assuming, people in relationships. You saw love, couples. You saw that and made a choice that you want that. It doesn't matter if you don't know what it's like or you've never experienced a loving relationship. That doesn't matter. You can still make the decision that it's done. The reality or version of you that is in that loving, fulfilling, committed relationship exists now. Creation is finished. So tell yourself you are that version of self now. As you shift through the states of consciousness, and we shift all day long, the more often you return to your decision to be the you that has the desire, it is done. The more often you do that, the more you're going to shift. And with each shift comes a new perception, a new set of filter glasses. And you're going to find yourself kind of understanding what it might feel like to have that. You might get ideas. They might come to you as you shift. Stop allowing your inner dialogue to be victim. to tell you you can't have what you want. It's a chosen limit. And for some of us, I know it sucks to hear that. I know. I didn't want to accept that kind of stuff either. But I did. And my outcome showed up. I read the specific little excerpt from Neville about discipline for a reason. We are changing self. We are changing ourselves. So with that comes I'm not going to sit and marinate in old self thinking. I'm going to choose to tell myself that I'm not that version of me anymore. I am now this version. The repetition of that decision is what is moving you there and making change out here. But it does require some self-discipline. And even if that means you have to redirect yourself daily, hourly, I get it. But redirect yourself. Redirect yourself. Tell yourself that you are now the version of self that finds it easy to return to the wish fulfilled or to the version of self that has the desire. Go there first. Make that your wish fulfilled state for a moment. Because once you get there, your perception's going to change. Things will change. But manifestation requires discipline. Self-discipline. When Neville is discussing death, meaning like the breaking up of your old state from your imagination, that connection of who you believe you are, that comes with habits too. Meaning, for example, this was a question that came up the other day. A specific person situation. Someone's manifesting their specific person and they found themselves, often checking their social media stories and saw that their specific person was viewing their stories, but not responding to them. And that would make that person upset. Instead of seeing it, hey, this is movement, this is action. Your SP is choosing to watch your stories. Instead, we were seeing it as not good enough because they're not responding to the stories. What is that? What is that little habit right there? That is the habit of the version of yourself that either doesn't feel worthy, doesn't feel like a priority, doesn't feel chosen, doesn't feel good enough. It's an old habit, checking to see who's watched your stories. That's a habit of old self. When we really, really want to experience our desired realities, old habits gotta die. And that's one of them. The things you were doing from a desperate, needy victim state, we gotta break up with those. We gotta let them go. Because there is no such thing as having a leg in one state and your leg in another state. You can only ever be in one state at a time. The idea is to dominantly be in the state or returning to the state of you having your desire. And we can't get to that state if we're still doing actionable things in our 3D, actionable things with our inner dialogue, based off of our old self. This is about breaking the habit of being that self. So that must include the habits of old self. Do you see what I'm saying? Are you understanding? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Got to let the old self go. And it doesn't have to be hard. And if you feel like you don't know where to start, maybe you feel overwhelmed. Maybe you feel like there's a lot of habits and your inner dialogue is a hot mess express. And maybe you're feeling overwhelmed in this moment. Like, I don't even know where to start. Like, I'm a hot mess. I get it. Start with simply telling yourself that you are refusing to be old self and you are now new self. That is what I did. I daily told myself, I refuse to be old Kim. I refuse. I am standing in my conviction that I am the new version of myself, even if I don't feel like it, even if I don't believe that, and even if my 3D is telling me I'm not the new self. I am her. I'm her now. That was enough. And it moved me. And it changed my 3D. But it required my daily discipline to make that decision or to return to that decision. It took my discipline. Even though I would fall right back out, get emotional, react and respond to the 3D. Everything is choice. It doesn't always feel like choice, but everything is choice. Stop limiting your own self by deciding that you have a flaw or a limit that God can't get around or the universe can't get around. That is a victim state talking. You want to change your life? Tell yourself you are that new self right now. Right now. Say it with me. Put it in the comments. Claim that. You are new self now. You get to define what new self is. Is that the you that has your manifestation? You get to be as specific as you want. But you're going to know that when you say, I am new self, I am my new version of self, I am in the state of my new self, you're going to know that means I have everything I want. I am filled with joy, happiness, fulfillment in every area of my life. Mic drop. So on that note, I'll see you tomorrow.